Hey, thanks for dropping in. This is Dinner by Dad, and today we're going to make one of my personal favorites, tarragon chicken. If you're wondering what happened to the soup series, that's on pause for this week. I need some special equipment, which some recent blizzardy weather has made difficult to go out and get. Case in point, this is the view from my dining room. It's pretty to look at, but not easy to get around in unless you have snow tires, which I do not. Anyway, I'm not disappointed about skipping soup, because as I mentioned, tarragon chicken is one of my favorite dishes, and best of all, it's ridiculously easy to make. It starts with, surprise surprise, some shallot, chopped somewhat finely. You can use an onion if you prefer, but I like how the shallot almost disappears into the sauce. While chicken and tarragon are the stars of the dish, it is nice to have a little variety, so I'll be throwing in a handful of button mushrooms. These are stragglers from when I made a beef stew a few nights ago. I'll just pop off the stems and give them a trim. Then slice everything thinly. The earthiness of these will go really nicely with tarragon. As for other supporting ingredients, I've got some dry white wine, a bit of brandy, a bit of heavy cream, and some white rice flour. Oh, and chicken stock. I almost forgot the chicken stock. Now our stars. First, the chicken, which I trimmed yesterday and removed the loose fat and skin. I've got 4 pieces here, which is enough for my little family, but scale it up according to your requirements. I'm using dark meat only. You can see these are all thighs. You can make this recipe with breast, but why would you? Thighs are so much tastier and so much more forgiving to cook. See how dry and almost leathery that skin looks? These thighs have been dry brined overnight. That means I seasoned them liberally with salt and left them uncovered in the fridge. Doing so allows the salt to penetrate deep into the chicken. This has 2 advantages. First, it seasons the meat thoroughly, including the inside, and second, it allows the meat to hold onto moisture better so it doesn't dry out, even if you overcook it a bit. Our final star is this, tarragon. This is of the Mexican variety, which is the only type that my local market carries. If you can get your hands on real French tarragon, go for it. Interesting fact, I just found out that Mexican tarragon isn't really a tarragon at all, but is actually from the marigold family. And that doesn't really concern me though, because it's close enough in flavor and it's still going to be delicious. I'm going to begin by spreading some of my rice flour in a baking dish, and I'll dredge the chicken on the skin side only. That's the presentation side, and it's the only side we care about. We want it to be nice and golden and pretty. Once that's accomplished, these can move to the stove. First thing we need to do is put a little olive oil and butter in our pan. We'll lay in the chicken, skin side down, and give it a couple of minutes to brown. Because I've only got 4 pieces, I'm going to do this in one shot. If you've got a lot of chicken, do this part in batches so you don't crowd the pan and unintentionally steam the chicken. That's looking really good. These birds can come out. As I mentioned a second ago, we're not concerned about the underside of the chicken. Also, you might be thinking that I missed a step and I didn't season the thighs. Don't forget, these have been dry brined. They're plenty seasoned already. Alright, next in the pan are the mushrooms. These only need to fry for a few minutes until they release their water. Once we reach that point, the shallot can go in. I'll let them sweat for just a minute. Now the wine can go in. As usual, I'll free pour it in. Oops, that was a bit of a generous pour. Needless to say, I make an excellent bartender at weddings. I'll let this simmer until most of the wine evaporates off. Then it's in with the brandy. Free pouring again, but a little more carefully this time. Like the wine, we want most of that brandy to cook off. We don't want the alcohol, only the flavor. Alright, everything's looking good in there, so the chicken can go back in. Then I'll add enough stock to mostly cover the chicken. This can be covered. I'll turn the heat down slightly and let this cook about 20 minutes or until the chicken reaches 165F internal temperature. Our chicken's cooked, so it can come out and we can set it aside. Now we can finish the sauce. First thing we need to do is to reduce the liquid in the pan. I'll turn the heat up slightly and bring this to a more vigorous simmer. That's looking about right. So now we can add a half cup of heavy cream, as well as most of the tarragon, which I just roughly chopped up. Pepper, of course. I've turned the heat down so this doesn't boil and curdle. We'll give it a few minutes for the tarragon to infuse into the sauce. We'll know we're close when the sauce kinda sorta coats the back of a spoon, which it kinda sorta does. Time for a taste. I'm very happy with that. It doesn't even need any extra salt. Now the chicken can go back into the pan for a minute to warm up, and we're ready to serve. So here we are, tarragon chicken. Perfectly browned, perfectly juicy chicken sitting in a pool so unbelievably rich and creamy and tarragon-y that you'll want to dive right in. Oh, and yeah, there's mushrooms in there as well. The only thing it needs is a little shower of fresh tarragon, and we're ready for a flyby. Okay, let's try this thing. Oh god. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please remember to hit like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, tips, suggestions, or even if you just want to say hi, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. See you next week.